I've been here since 1950. It's a family farm, and hopefully it'll go on to the third generation and pass on down the line. I was on a horse, and a bull, he caught me with his horn. The bones were right to the surface of the skin. They told me at Rochester, it had been 30 years earlier, that they'd amputated the leg. Come spring, I wasn't worth a hoot.
Just sometimes some things happen that are just out of your control, and that's what happened to me that day. It was just out of my control. And the combine started on fire, and I got caught in the middle of it. Hence, I was burned 60% on my arms and chest. Got to the hospital, and that's probably about one of the last things I remember. Spent the next 5 months with same skin grafts and therapy, basically learning to walk all over again.
Tornado that hit August 12th, 2010. I hit my farm here. There wasn't a thing standing when the storm was over. Pretty much leveled the place. How do you keep going?
If that crop doesn't get seeded, you're not going to be farming that land next year.
I'm Bill Gross, originally from Cleveland, North Dakota. Grew up on a family farm, and I'm a Boeing 747 captain for UPS Airlines now. But my heart never left the rural communities. And us pilots sit up there and talk and say, what are you going to do when you retire? I would always say to them, well, I'm going to get myself a big John Deere tractor and be this random Good Samaritan and drive across the countryside and help farm families that look like they're having a tough time. And today I'm driving that big green tractor. However, it turned out a little bit different than what I planned. My first idea of being a Good Samaritan, going around helping farm families, has blossomed into a much larger organization than I ever envisioned. I'm the founder and president of Farm Rescue, which I founded 6 years ago. We plant or harvest the crops free of charge for farm families that have experienced an unexpected crisis. I knew there was a viable plan between sponsorships, volunteer workforce, and the funding goes to getting the work done for these farm families. It's not a handout. We don't give any money out to farm families. Farm Rescue operates in 4 states, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Montana. Farm Rescue only has 2 full-time employees and a small army of volunteers. It's the same as you have.
This is my 3rd year as a volunteer for Farm Rescue. The kids would say, Dad just goes out there so he can drive around in this big John Deere. That is some of it, I'm not gonna lie. It's awesome to control this piece of equipment, and I'm just thankful that I'm able to help.
You know, these people have gone through some major hardships, and if I can come out and I like to say even the score a little bit for them, I'll do that.
My name's Dave Hurdle. I'm from Chandler, Arizona. Work for Intel. When I read about this, I said this is a perfect mix of being able to give back and get back to my roots a little bit.
This is my 5th year of volunteering. Know that you're helping people gives you a warm feeling, and you know God's maybe looking down on you and hey, well, you know, maybe this guy's not so bad after all.
I'm Gene Spitzke from Keefe, North Dakota. As a retired farmer, anything I can do to help other farmers, no matter where they live, it's part of life, just to help others.
We are in Bismarck, North Dakota today, and we're leaving to go to Hague, North Dakota. It's about an 80-mile trip, and we're going down to help Larry and Rosalind Lyer family. What you're going to see is a very typical type of farm for North Dakota. It is a small farm. It is a family of 7 children, and they have some cattle, and they have agricultural land. They do both. It's one of the better cases here. They are a super good family and certainly could use some help. Good morning. It's nice to see you. Your family here. Who do we have
this
here?
is Aaron. He's 13.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Bill.
Hi.
And this is Alyssa, Aaron's twin
Hi,
sister.
Alyssa.
And this is Nathan.
Hi, Nathan.
He's
nice
20.
to meet you. Great, great. And the dog's name?
Dog's name is Roxy. My name is Larry Lyer.
I'm Rosalind Lyer. This is the farm that I grew up on, and we took it over 25 years ago.
We have 7 children, 4 girls and 3 boys.
Nicole, she's our oldest daughter. She's married and they have 2 children. Then there's Matthew, he lives in Linton. And then there's Marissa, she's 18.
We got 2 sets of twins.
Nathan and Nancy, they're 21. And Aaron and Alyssa, they're 13. It was in 2002 when we noticed that Nathan wasn't walking right. You know, he was walking as if he was drunk, kind of stumbling around, and that's how we found that he had Friedreich's ataxia. It's a muscle and neurological disorder. It's a lot like MS, it's in that family. They'll lose their muscle tone where they eventually can't walk anymore. They'll be so deformed. They'll have difficulty even breathing. Eventually, everything just shuts down, and the last thing to go is the heart. There's no medication or nothing that can help this disease right now.
Nathan is a stubborn person. He wouldn't use a walker, he wouldn't use a cane. By the time he got to be a junior in high school, he had to have his classmates help him from class to class. In June of 2008, we were actually at the University of Minnesota deciding whether or not Nathan should have rods put in his back. And the doctor that was going to do the surgery asked, "Larry, what are you doing on the farm right now?" And I knew that my wheat crop was going to be probably ready at the time Nathan was supposed to have his back surgery. And I said, it doesn't matter. I'll figure something out.
3 years ago, our volunteers came and harvested their wheat crop. We are now planting their crop for them. And I hope it is making a difference in the lives of this family.
It's been a wet spring. It's been a wet week, actually. And the window for seeding the crop is narrowing quickly. We're just gonna go out and try it and see how it works. And I guess this field right here, this 48 acres, will probably be the driest, so we can probably start there. Let's let it roll. Let's make some dust. If you don't get your crop seeded in a timely manner, you have less of a crop in the fall, or maybe no crop at all. I only have a 15-foot drill. They come in here with a 50-foot drill and can do it 4 or 5 times faster than I can. That might be the determination whether I get a crop or not next fall.
Cleveland, North Dakota used to be a town that had a restaurant, gas station, local grocery store, city hall, senior center, post office, and local farmer's elevator. And now it's all closed up except the post office, which I'm told is going to close next year, and the local farmer's elevator. I have fond memories of that grocery store. As a small child, my mom and I used to go there and get groceries for the farm, of course, but it's all gone now. The children of the town used to gather here. I didn't realize Cleveland, North Dakota was a shrinking town until the school closed. It was more of a shock, really, when they announced that the school was going to close. And I think everyone knew at that point that it would only be downhill. That's not something I want to see for other towns across America. And that greatly influenced my decision to start Farm Rescue, to help these farm families in the rural countryside, which ultimately helps the small towns across rural America to stay open for business. It's schools, it's shops, it's good for everyone. These small towns never come back once they close the doors. People scatter to the wind, the children leave to the bigger city. There's no families here to keep these small towns going or to bring them back to life. Here is where I was raised. This house was built by my grandfather in 1916, and it's where my dad's brothers and sisters were raised, as well as us children. There were several generations of families that were raised on this farm and made their livelihood off of this land and way of living. It's hard for me to explain what really took place here. There was a family to be raised. There was school to attend to. There was all the things that a family in town has to take care of, but much, much more when working on the land and raising cattle. It's nice to come back to the farm. When I see these farm families struggling to make ends meet and survive on their farm, it brings me back to my childhood memories. It was the same here, right here. It was no different. I picture my dad. He probably would have lived to be older, but he really worked so hard that I feel he wore himself out physically. My mother, God bless her, she also worked extremely hard on the farm. In many respects, I felt that she unduly sacrificed for the farm. We didn't go on vacations. We didn't do things that other people might envision in life. I remember when I was a child where my parents went to the bank to ask for $2,000 for groceries for us to help through the winter, and the bank said no, and it was a difficult time for us some years, but we made it through. Due to financial reasons, it was not possible for my parents to help me get started in farming. So I went on to school and received pilot training, and when I think back upon it, I think I really felt guilty about leaving the family farm, about leaving my parents behind in a way, in my mind, but yet that's what they wanted me to do, because they knew that they could not help me at that point and that I should go and get an education. It all goes full circle. I was perfectly happy doing my own thing as an airline pilot until that one evening of having dinner with an old college roommate friend of mine. I always knew that I wanted to help farm families, but it was always something I would do in the future, in retirement. Kevin said, "Why wait? Do it now." And I didn't have an answer for him at that point. I guess we went on and talked about other things, but it stuck in my mind as I drove home that there was no good reason to wait, that you don't know what tomorrow might bring. And 1 year later, we were helping our very first farm family. I can thank my dad for being a hard worker and providing for the family, and my mom's persistence of getting all of us children through school. At the time, I didn't realize the lessons it was teaching me and how it ultimately affected the formation of Farm Rescue. My parents never knew of Farm Rescue, but I'm working the land, helping farm families, and I'm sure that my parents would be very proud of that. It's very important that a farm family gets their crop planted or harvested quickly, because if you don't get it planted at the proper time, it won't have the time to grow and mature, and you'll end up with a crop failure. And the same as if you don't harvest it quickly, it'll fall down on the ground and you won't be able to harvest it anymore, and you'll lose your entire crop. Things don't stop on a farm. There's no medical leave, there's no sick days, there's no disability insurance. When someone is injured or ill on a farm, everything comes to a screeching halt. What people need to realize is that a family farm nowadays really cannot withstand more than 2 years approximately of losses, because the inputs of the seed, the fertilizer, the expense of the machinery, the land is expensive nowadays. Everything adds up. They have the nature to contend with, the weather. If they have a crop failure, that they don't get their money back at the end of the harvest time, they can lose hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million. And they're gambling it every year. If you have a bad year the second year, you're most likely out of business or foreclosed upon. There's really two missions with Farm Rescue. The one that everyone sees is the tangible aspect of helping a farm family. The part that I'm most proud about is that it makes it more likely for their children, for future generations, to continue farming. And that is good for rural America also.
The funnest thing to do on the farm is ride in the tractor, or even better yet, drive the tractor.
That's what he likes to do, and if he needs help, I'll help him
do what he wants, or he'll try to do it himself. To me, it's not work to sit in the tractor.
Yes, there are some large corporate farms and some large family farms, but by and large, those small family farms raise the crops that supply food in your grocery store. That is how it all comes together. The last I read, there's approximately 360,000 family farms that go out of business every year. This is a large number of family farms falling by the wayside. I would think that everyone in America would like to have their food come from family farms that they know is wholesome and nutritious and grown on our soil. It's in everyone's best interest to keep these family farmers in business.
Today we're going to be feeding the people from Farm Rescue. We don't do anything fancy here. We just set everything on the counter and they can go through and pick up whatever they want.
Most of the crew is in here now. We got one guy out that's running that tractor right now. He's going to be coming home, and so we're going to eat in shifts tonight. Chicken rebel soup.
This is not the first time we have assisted this family. We were here 3 years ago harvesting their crop, and now 3 years later, since they recently found out that their younger daughter has the same disease as Nathan, we are now planting their crop for them.
And eventually she's going to need a lot of care, just like Nathan. Like a lot of farmers, you never think you're going to need them. I hesitated too, like most farmers do. Hesitated to call them. Because most farmers are proud of what they do. They don't like to ask for help. I guess I have to say I swallowed my pride. Found their telephone number and I called them, and they came and they took care of us. We're very grateful for Farm Rescue coming. I pray for a miracle every day, but it just takes a lot of weight off our shoulders. It's constantly, not weighs only on me, but on all of us.
And just knowing that what little bit I helped here had an impact on their lives, I really feel that what I'm doing is appreciated. I feel my life is worthwhile doing this.
Bill does it probably for the same reason the rest of us do. How can he make a difference? How can he make a difference in one person's life? But then Bill takes the next level. He's like, how many people can I help in my life? So
Larry and Rosalind, you have just a beautiful family and wonderful children, and you have to be very, very proud of that. We'll be finished soon, and then we'll have to move on. But it's our time with your family has been absolutely wonderful, and we value it. It means a great deal to us also. Thank you.
Even though there's some tears today, it's been a real good experience. I hope I can do it someday, be a volunteer for Farm Rescue.
Well, we'd like to have you as a volunteer when you have time, Larry. You have your hands full here with the family. It's not about what Bill Gross has done or what he's doing. It's about what Farm Rescue is doing and what these volunteers are doing and the avenue it's created for the business and volunteers to come forward and help other people. That's what's great about Farm Rescue. We have many cases to do this week yet, and the volunteers have worked hard and are anxious to get on to the next family to help.
There's no words that can express the thanks that I feel for him and his crew.
And I thank every one of them. I mean, I can't thank them enough. They're people with big hearts, lots of compassion.
I shouldn't say this, but all you saw was rear ends and elbows. I mean, those guys worked. Things moved.
To have that in a person to want to help them was very humbling. Not very many people, I think, have that in them anymore.